My wife thought her secret affair was safe, until the other man's wife crashed their boardroom meeting with a folder full of receipts. What followed wasn't just a confrontation. It was a public takedown that shattered careers and exposed everything in the most savage way imaginable. I encouraged my wife to take the job. That's the part that still messes with my head. Emily had been in a professional slump for nearly a year. Her talent wasn't the issue. She was brilliant. But after getting passed over for 2 promotions at her old firm, she started doubting herself. I couldn't stand to watch her fade like that, so when a top-tier marketing agency in downtown Chicago called her in for a strategist position, I pushed her to go all in. "You're too smart to be stuck playing small," I told her one night as she hesitated over the offer. She got the job. We celebrated like she'd made partner champagne. Music. Dancing in the living room. I meant it when I said I was proud of her. And for the first few weeks, she seemed to come alive again, full of stories, new ideas, exciting challenges. She worked late, but it made sense. New job, new standards, new pressure. I didn't question it. At first, then slowly, the mood shifted. The details she used to share about her day started drying up. No more inside jokes about her coworkers, no more funny client stories over dinner, and her phone. She guarded it like it was wired to explosives. It never left her side, even in the shower. One night I walked past her home office and heard her laugh. Not just any laugh, the kind you give someone when you want them to know they've got your full attention. Low warm, flirty. It stopped me cold. I stood in the hallway listening. She was whispering, "God, you're dangerous." That laugh again. When I stepped inside, she jolted, clicked her screen off like I wasn't supposed to see whatever was on it. "Just finishing a Zoom call," she said too fast. "Late client stuff." "With who?" "New project. Long day." She kissed me on the cheek and turned back to her laptop like that was the end of the conversation. It wasn't. At least not for me. From that night on, something in me changed. I started paying closer attention, even though I didn't want to. Because if I was wrong, I'd just become the paranoid husband. But if I was right, the signs kept stacking. She stopped using our shared calendar for work trips. She said she was spending a weekend at her sister's to help with a baby shower. But her sister posted pictures online from another city entirely. When I asked her about it, she said she'd left early and didn't want to bother me. It didn't sit right. Then came the moment I couldn't ignore. Emily left her phone on the nightstand, unlocked. She was in the shower, humming like nothing was wrong. I wasn't looking to snoop. I didn't even pick it up. But when the screen lit up, a message flashed across it like it was meant to be seen. "Tyler, can't stop thinking about earlier. Same time tomorrow." Tyler. She'd mentioned him before. One of the VPs at her new job. "Super sharp," she'd said once. "Married. Very professional." She emphasized married like it was a badge of safety, like that meant he couldn't possibly be a threat. I stared at the message, my heart pounding so hard it drowned out the sound of the shower. When she came out moments later, wrapped in a towel, she took one look at my face and went pale. "You read it?" she asked. I didn't answer. I didn't yell. I didn't say a word. I walked downstairs and sat in the dark until the sun came up. I didn't sleep. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started tracing the trail. That message had cracked something open in me. Not just suspicion, certainty. I began noticing everything I'd previously ignored. The way she smiled when a certain name came up in conversation. The sly text replies mid-dinner. The networking events that ended without photos, updates, or even stories. She thought I didn't know. She thought she was clever. But I wasn't the only one catching on. Because 2 days later, I got a Facebook message from someone I'd never met, Jordan Reynolds. "Hi," it read. "This may sound crazy, but I think your wife and my husband are having an affair. I found some messages, and I need to know if I'm losing my mind, or if I already know the truth." My hands were shaking as I typed back. "You're not crazy. I've seen things too." We agreed to meet at a cafe outside the city. No drama, just the truth. She walked in, calm and collected. She didn't waste time. Jordan pulled out a folder from her bag and slid it across the table. Screenshots, photos, hotel receipts, Emily Tyler. Together, over and over again. In one of the texts, my wife had written, "He still thinks I'm with my sister. Poor guy. I feel a little guilty sometimes." That did it. Jordan looked me in the eye, voice low and clear. "They think they're clever. They think we won't fight back." That was the moment the game changed, because Jordan didn't just want truth, she wanted impact, and I was going to help her deliver it. Jordan wasn't interested in sympathy, she wanted precision. Our meeting wasn't about venting or bonding over betrayal, it was strategy, and I was ready. We spent 2 hours going over every piece of evidence. Jordan had done her homework. She wasn't guessing. She had dates, locations, texts, even a timeline that matched up almost perfectly with the nights Emily claimed she was working late or traveling for client meetings. One photo hit especially hard. Tyler and Emily in a booth at a downtown bar, heads close together. That night, she had told me she was stuck in a hotel conference room, helping with a brand relaunch. I even offered to bring her dinner. She said she was too slammed. There she was, laughing, drink in hand, no laptop in sight. Another receipt, a hotel stay booked under Tyler's company card, with Emily listed as a guest. The date? A weekend she told me she was at her sister's again. Jordan's folder was full of these lies, dozens of them. "I only found out because of a charge for roses on his card," Jordan said. "He doesn't buy flowers. Ever." That one detail started her digging. She followed his credit card trail, tracked hotel check-ins, searched synced cloud photos. She even hired a friend in IT to help recover deleted texts. She was relentless, and I admired it. She wasn't breaking down. She was building a case. Once she had enough, she looped me in. "What do you want to do with this?" I asked. Jordan looked me dead in the eye. "I want to ruin them, not just personally, professionally." She had a plan. It was bold, public, and impossible to ignore. Tyler and Emily worked in the same department at their firm, one of Chicago's most respected marketing agencies. Their team had weekly meetings in a glass-walled conference room right in the middle of the floor. Everyone saw everything. That room would become the stage. But before that day came, we needed to be sure. No guesses, no assumptions. Just irrefutable truth. We followed the timeline. On a Thursday night, Emily told me she was going to a networking mixer. "Executives only," she said. "Not open to guests." I wished her luck. She wore perfume she hadn't touched in months. When she left, I waited 5 minutes, then followed. Jordan was already parked outside the bar Emily had once said Tyler liked. We stayed in the car, cameras ready. 3 p.m. Tyler walked in. 17 p.m. Emily followed. They didn't see us. We didn't need to get close. They made it easy. At 10:42 p.m., they walked out together. He opened the car door for her. They kissed. That sealed it. Photos taken. Time stamped. The next morning, Jordan submitted an anonymous tip to HR. Not enough to blow things up yet, just to get them on edge. Then we waited. She picked the following Friday. Everyone would be in the office. Weekly review, all hands meeting. 47 a.m. Sharp, that was when Jordan would walk in and drop the truth. I asked her if she wanted backup. "No," she said. "This is my shot. I'm taking it." The night before, I got a text from Emily. "I might be late tomorrow. Early meeting with Tyler." I stared at the screen. The irony. Friday came. Jordan messaged me when she was on the way. I parked across the street, out of sight but close enough to see the lobby. At 45 a.m. She arrived. 10:47 a.m. She walked through the front doors. Security tried to stop her. She didn't pause. She told the receptionist, "I'm Tyler's wife. I'm here to deliver something urgent to him and his mistress." The receptionist froze. Jordan didn't. She marched straight to the glass conference room and opened the door mid-meeting. Every head turned. No one said a word. She walked to the table, placed a folder in front of Emily, and said, "You dropped something." Emily blinked, then opened it. Photos, receipts, messages. The silence was suffocating. Tyler leaned over to look. His hand reached for the folder, but Jordan pulled it back. "Don't touch what doesn't belong to you," she said. Then she turned to the room. "For anyone interested, Here's a record of the affair between your married vice president and your married marketing strategist. Hotel bills, texts, and proof that they use company time and funds for personal fun. I'm sure HR will find it enlightening. Still silence. Then to Emily, loud enough for all to hear. Your husband knows, and so does mine. She walked out. No yelling, no tears, just facts and fire. I didn't ask for details after that. I didn't need to. But Jordan texted later that evening. Your wife cried. Tyler tried to deny everything. HR told them both to leave the building immediately. The office was frozen. No one said a word. You could hear people breathing. It was perfect. She called it a victory. I called it justice. Because the truth didn't just come out, it exploded. Emily didn't call that night. She didn't come home. But I knew the silence wouldn't last. And when she did show up again, thinking she could spin it, manipulate it, or undo the damage, she'd be met with something far more powerful than anger. Indifference. 3 days. That's how long it took before Emily finally broke the silence. 3 days after Jordan tore through that conference room like a wrecking ball with receipts, I hadn't heard a word. No texts, no calls, nothing. I figured she was scrambling, trying to figure out how to spin her downfall into some kind of misunderstood mistake, maybe even blaming me in her mind for betraying her trust. But when her name finally popped up on my phone, it came with 13 missed calls and a voicemail. Curiosity won. I listened. Her voice sounded small, hollow. Hey, I guess you heard. I don't know where to start. I made a mistake. A huge one. I wasn't thinking clearly. Things got out of control, but I never meant for it to get this far. Can we please talk? It didn't sound like guilt. It sounded like fear. The kind you hear from someone who just realized the safety net they thought was there never existed. That night I came home to find her standing outside my apartment. Same woman, but the energy was gone. She was holding takeout, my favorite of course. Like that was the golden ticket back into my life. I brought dinner, she said softly. Figured you might want something familiar. I didn't move to open the door. I already ate. She forced a smile. You always said that when you were mad at me. I'm not mad, I said. I'm done. Her face dropped. She tried to push the door a little further. Please, just 10 minutes. I lost everything. My job's gone. Tyler blocked me. HR's investigating. Everyone knows I have nowhere else to go. There it was. She wasn't there to apologize. She was there because her world had collapsed, and she was looking for the last stable piece of it. Me. I kept my voice steady. Emily, you had everything. A home, a husband, a clean slate, and you traded it for a few stolen hours with a married man. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't flinch. I didn't think you'd find out, she whispered. That line. That's what did it. Not I didn't mean to hurt you. Not I'm sorry. Just a confession that she thought she'd never get caught. I stared at her for a long moment, searching for the feeling I thought I'd still have. Love, anger, even pain. But there was nothing. Just clarity. You should go. I closed the door before she could answer. That was the last time I saw her in person. The fallout hit fast. Emily's reputation at the firm didn't just take a hit, it collapsed. In an industry that thrived on collaboration and image, no one wanted to be associated with someone who weaponized trust and lied about business trips. Word spread to clients. Projects she led were reassigned. Some partners pulled out entirely. She was let go within the week. Disruption of workplace integrity was the official reason, but we both knew what it really meant. Tyler didn't fare much better. His attempt to deny the affair backfired. Once the HR team dug into expenses and travel logs, it was obvious he'd used company funds for personal getaways. Demotion came first, followed by a quiet divorce and eventually being pushed out of the firm altogether. Jordan? She didn't stop after that meeting. She hired a lawyer, filed for divorce, and forwarded the HR materials to a few of Tyler's industry contacts. By the time it all settled, he was unofficially blacklisted from 3 major agencies. I didn't gloat. I didn't cheer. I just watched. Quietly. Emily sent a few more texts in the following days, some apologizing, others begging. At one point, she tried to remind me of all the good times and asked if we could at least be civil. I never replied. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was just done giving her access to me. She had used that access to lie, deceive, and gamble with something I had built with trust. You don't come back from that. Weeks later, mutual friends told me she'd moved out of the city, got a job at a much smaller firm. No one in leadership, no spotlight, just surviving. Good. Let her rebuild from the ground up, not out of revenge, but because consequences teach better than forgiveness ever could. As for me, I moved on quietly. I kept my routine, leaned on a few close friends, picked up extra projects. The silence that used to feel like loneliness turned into peace. I didn't need to forgive her to feel free. And Jordan? She messaged me once, just to thank you, for backing me up, for not folding. We met for coffee a few weeks later. It wasn't romantic, not even close. Just two people who had been through the same fire and came out clean. We didn't trade war stories. We didn't need to. We just sipped our drinks and knew something important. We were the ones who walked away with our dignity intact. Emily didn't disappear quietly, even after losing her job, after being exposed in front of her coworkers, after watching her affair partner divorce and vanish. She still tried to come back, not with apologies, not with real accountability, but with the same familiar mix of excuses, nostalgia, and desperation. It started with a letter. A handwritten note slipped under my door. She wrote about how she missed the way things used to be, how she remembered Sunday mornings with pancakes and bad TV, how we used to laugh about nothing. She talked about how empty everything felt now, how she'd give anything to go back. I didn't respond. Then came the emails. Long ones. Paragraphs trying to rewrite history. I wasn't myself. I didn't plan to fall for him. It just happened. She said she felt like she was spiraling, and Tyler was just someone who made her feel seen. Not once did she say, "I betrayed you." Not once did she take full responsibility. Everything was wrapped in vague guilt, as if the affair was some mutual misunderstanding instead of a series of choices she made while I was home believing in her. I blocked the email. She called my office next. The receptionist recognized her voice and asked if I wanted to take the call. I said no. She left a voicemail. "I'm not trying to make excuses. I just don't know how to move on knowing I broke everything. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want a chance to talk." I deleted it without listening to the rest. Then came the worst one. She showed up at my parents' house. They didn't know what had happened, at least not in full. Emily spun a watered-down version, rough patch, miscommunication, needing space. My mom, always kind, invited her in. My dad wasn't so convinced. By the time I heard about it, she had already left. That night I texted her one last time, "Do not contact my family again, ever." She didn't reply. I thought that would be the end. But 2 weeks later, I ran into her. Pure chance. Grocery store midday. She was in the produce aisle standing still, holding a basket like she didn't know what she was supposed to do next. She saw me. Her eyes widened a little, hopeful. I nodded once, moved past her, and kept walking. No words, no pause. Nothing. That's when she realized there wouldn't be a fight. There wouldn't be closure. There wouldn't be some big confrontation or emotional scene. She didn't get to play the victim in her own story and expect me to help her rewrite it. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad. I just didn't care. And that hurt more than anything I could have said. I later found out she moved to a small town in Indiana, got hired by a mid-size agency that didn't know her history or chose not to ask. Word travels slow out there. No one's Googling your name in a team of 12. Tyler, last I heard, was trying to get back into the industry under a different name, rebranding himself as a consultant. Not many takers. Jordan had torched his bridges so effectively, even LinkedIn connections ghosted him. She sent me one last update via text. Officially divorced, took the house, custody, and even the dog. He walked away with nothing but debt and silence. I'll take it. I smiled when I read that. Jordan wasn't trying to hurt him. She just made sure he felt the weight of every decision he made, the same way Emily did. I never went public, never told the full story to friends outside our circle. I didn't need to. The people who mattered knew. The rest didn't deserve a front row seat to my private closure. Instead, I started rebuilding. Not from a place of pain, but from peace. I took a solo trip. Nothing dramatic. Just a few days off the grid to clear my head. No phones, no updates. Just me and the silence I used to fear. Turned out, it wasn't silence at all. It was relief. Coming home afterward, I realized I hadn't thought about Emily once the entire trip. Not in anger, not in sadness, not even in memory. That's when I knew I was free. Real freedom doesn't come from payback or revenge. It comes when the person who hurt you no longer has space in your mind. Not because you forced them out, but because they simply don't matter anymore. 3 months had passed since the day Jordan exposed everything. In that time, the dust settled, but not for everyone. Emily had vanished from the social circles we once shared. Friends who tried to check in with her stopped after hearing the same lines. It wasn't that serious, or it just got out of hand. She never said she was sorry. She never admitted what she did, just vague allusions to stress and confusion, as if the affair had happened around her instead of because of her. But life doesn't pause for people unwilling to face reality. While Emily scrambled for footing and a quieter job in town, the rest of us moved forward. Jordan finalized her divorce and, with it, her freedom. Her lawyer had been ruthless. Tyler had used marital funds for personal expenses, including every hotel, dinner, and trip with Emily. That made it easy to justify compensation. Jordan kept the house, full custody of their daughter, and even the joint investments. Tyler's downfall wasn't public, but it was complete. He lost the respect of his peers, the trust of his team, and any chance at rebuilding within the industry. His attempt to freelance fell flat. Too many burned bridges, too many quiet warnings passed between professionals. Reputation matters in a business built on trust, and his was gone. I never checked on Emily. I didn't stalk her socials. I didn't ask friends for updates. If information came to me, it came on its own. And even then, I barely registered it. One friend did tell me she was trying to write a blog about healing after personal failure. No followers, no traction. I didn't laugh. I didn't care. People were free to chase redemption in whatever way made them feel whole. That didn't mean I had to applaud it. She had her shot. She threw it away. As for me, I focused on rebuilding, not just my schedule or my space, but my mindset. There's something strange about betrayal. People assume it breaks you, and it does, but not forever. If you handle it right, it forges something better, stronger, more self-aware. I stopped apologizing for putting up boundaries. I learned to recognize red flags without talking myself out of them. I became more selective with the people I let into my life, and I started living in a way I hadn't before, with peace. Not every day was perfect. Some nights the memories came back, the hotel receipts, the voicemail. Her standing outside my apartment, thinking takeout could undo what she'd done, but they passed, and each time they hit a little softer, like background noise I no longer needed to respond to. I didn't date for a while, not out of fear, just focus. I wasn't looking for a distraction. I was building a new version of myself from the ground up, and I didn't want to drag anyone into that until I was fully ready. When I did start seeing someone, it was quiet. No big declarations, no forced intimacy, just two people who respected each other's pace and past. That relationship didn't happen because I needed saving. It happened because I'd already saved myself. People always ask, oh, what would you have done differently? And the truth is, nothing. I didn't explode. I didn't retaliate in a way that hurt innocent people. I didn't smear her name. I didn't try to force her to feel what I felt. I simply let the truth speak for itself. I let consequences take the wheel, and I walked away. Because that's the part no one tells you about justice. It doesn't always need a crowd or a fight. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain calm while the people who betrayed you unravel themselves. That's what Emily did. She created the lie. She lived it. She defended it. And in the end, she was the one who had to carry it. I just let go. That's the real moral here. Betrayal doesn't define you unless you let it. You can respond with rage or you can respond with clarity. I chose the latter, and it gave me everything I needed. Not revenge, not sympathy, but closure. So here's my advice to anyone going through what I did. Don't fight for someone who wouldn't fight for you. Don't lose yourself in trying to fix what someone else broke. Don't chase explanations that won't change the facts. Just watch. Wait, and when the time comes, walk away with your head up and your peace intact. They'll notice. They always do. But by then, it won't matter. Because by then, you'll be free.